Hey traders, Akil here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast, coming at you 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on every podcasting app you can think of, as well as YouTube. In today's conversation, I actually want to talk about, or I should say the topic actually stemmed from a recent YouTube video that I put out. It was a YouTube video that I put out called 2 Practices Guaranteed to Improve Your Trading. And in the video, we talk about, it was basically footage from my live trading room where we covered some really good topics, right? I know when people hear live trading rooms, they typically think that we're just in there hunting for trading opportunities, but really that's not the point. When I first started doing this back in 2012, that was the point. The room used to be silent, like you watch me trade and that's it. But over the years, I've taken a much more educational approach where I look at it as like being in the gym. It is a training center, as a place to practically apply what our traders are learning through the courses and show them what it looks like in a real-time environment. And yes, it's fun to take live trades, and I look for as many live trades as I can get. But we also spend a lot of time doing analysis, answering questions that have to do with trading, business, and just life in general. And because of that, we often get off on some rants, and many of those rants turn into Trading Coach podcast episodes. But on this particular day in the live room, we had 2 pretty good rants, and those were the 2 lessons that I shared in this video. The first was the power of external accountability, right? One of the, I guess, the pro and con of being a trader and being an entrepreneur in general, right? The big thing about being an entrepreneur is that you are your own boss, right? You make the rules, you can do whatever you want, blah, 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 freedom of time, freedom of money, all that fun stuff. However, what people don't realize is that when you are an entrepreneur, you are the boss. And when you are the boss, guess what? You have no one to answer to. So it takes a massive amount of accountability to stay on track. I mean, think about back when you were in school or back at the job you're currently at. Like, would you work at the same rate and put forth the same effort if there was no one kind of judging you, if there was no fear of like potentially getting fired or disciplined? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe if you're really, really, really passionate about what you do, and I think as traders, most of us are, and that's what kind of keeps the motor going. But for you guys that are just there to collect the check, probably not, right? I remember actually when I used to work at a fitness center, I got fired from this fitness center, and I still hold a grudge because I was wrongfully fired. It wasn't even the fact that I was fired. It was the reason they made up for firing me, and the fact that I had to come in 4:30 in the morning, shovel snow, open up the place, only to realize that I was fired. I'm like, you could have told me before and I would have been home sleeping. But the real reason I was fired was because I was having this argument with a janitor. A janitor that had been there for years, and it was a fitness center, and we were talking about selling memberships. And, you know, I worked at this fitness center. I was there to collect the check. I had no special place in my heart for this place aside from collecting my check, right, and paying bills. And we were talking, one of our tasks at the front desk was to sell memberships. And you guys know me from trading. I'm not a hard salesman. Like they want you to be this person that, you know, when they come in the door, they don't leave unless they have a year membership. And like, that's just not my style. I'm kind of like, hey, if you want to buy it, here are the details. I can get you set up. If you don't, then boom, right? Low pressure sales, the opposite of Grant Cardone, I guess you can say. And we were having a conversation, I think, with one of my coworkers, and I was saying that, hey, you know, I'm not really motivated to do these annual sales. Like, you know, I'll do it, I'll run through the script because that's what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not going to do any more than I need to. And one person was like, well, you should want to get annual sales and blah, 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 and this and this and this. I'm like, well, why? It's not like like I'm a car salesman, right? There's no commission. I don't get anything extra. If you were giving me extra bonus per sale, or the store was getting a bonus per sale, even like a pizza party or something like that, then yeah, we'd be more encouraged to do it. But the fact of the matter is, whether I sold 0 memberships or whether I sold 100 memberships, my check was exactly the same. And you guys know me, I don't beat around the bush. I explain my point, and I'm pretty sure he took it back to the bosses, and the bosses didn't like that, and they fired me. You know, he was mad because I was making sense. But the point was, I had no extra motivation to do any more than I needed to do. In trading, or entrepreneurship in general, but in trading specifically, if that's the attitude you have, you're not going to go far. Because becoming successful in general means doing more than the rest. I saw this cool little infographic the other day on social media where it talked about college. It was talking about having a college degree, and it showed an elevator, and the elevator was packed, and there was a guy standing on the outside, and it says, well, a college degree doesn't really do anything for you. It doesn't guarantee you a job or anything like that, like it maybe used to. So you have to do more. And the successful traders that we work with are the ones that do more. They don't just go through the course material and say, okay, I learned it. They just don't read a book or watch a YouTube video or listen to a trading coach podcast and say, hey, I learned it. They do more. They take action. They learn and they invest time. They learn and then they invest time, right? They read a book. They practice on the charts. They go through a training course. Then they come into the live room, come into a Q&A, right? Do an accountability session, something like that. They do the extra stuff. It's, like those players in the NBA or on your favorite sports team that they call them gym rats, right? They're in the gym as soon as the lights go on, and they're the first one there and the last one to leave. Those are the ones that have the most success. But even with that type of work ethic, it's hard to judge yourself when you are yourself. I know that made no sense, but you guys get what I'm saying. Again, so imagine I am a basketball player, right? And I am working on my jump shot, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm shooting and I'm shooting and I'm shooting, right? I can be practicing all day, but I can't tell, unless I was previously made aware of this, I can't tell whether I'm doing something right or wrong. I guess the one way would be maybe I set up a camera and film myself, but still I have to know what to look at before I can kind of tell. So the real changes comes from having that coach, having someone look at you and evaluate you and saying, hey, Akil, I noticed this, right? When you shot the ball, this did that. And you're like, you know what? I never noticed that before. And one of the practices that we talked about that are guaranteed to improve your trading is to have accountability partners. And that's a big part of the program here at Tier 1 Trading. Not only do we have it within the program, but we have smaller separate groups of people who have made those connections, made those networks, right? Struggling traders love to be together. Misery loves company. And they get together and they help each other out. And one of the practices I talked about was, hey, finding that accountability partner, sending them your charts, maybe once a week, once a month, whatever it is for you, once a day if you really want to get after it, and have them review. And maybe they can find little things that you're doing wrong or little things that you could be doing better, or maybe just share an opinion with you, and that can help you become better. Then you go back, you take that information, you work on it, and you become better. And obviously you do the same for the other person, and you both grow together. A second practice that I talked about was, this is more technical now, was active trade management. Essentially, that means that while you're in a trade, instead of just setting it and forgetting it, you're actively managing your trade while you're involved, right? And for me, active trade management means the management of your stop loss, so your risk. You start every trade with a certain amount of risk. And if the situation in the market allows it, the goal should be to reduce that risk. Let's say you're risking 100 pips, just a random number, 100 pips in the beginning. Well, if the market provides you with an opportunity to roll stops down to 50 pips, you just cut out half your risk, right? So worst case scenario, if you lose half of what you initially intended, which is basically the same as a win in a way, because you're reducing how much you lose. And you can manage your trade to the point where, you can even lock in profit. Again, if you haven't seen it, the video is called 2 Practices Guaranteed to Improve your trading. It kind of shows you I guess on chart version of what I'm talking about if you can't kind of visualize it. So those are 2 practices that I live by. I've preached it for a while, and I think I tell me a way that they aren't beneficial. I think they both are in many different aspects. And I got this comment, right? And I usually don't really care about these comments, and I don't really care about this one, aside from the fact that I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to teach. So for you guys that leave negative comments, I love it because it gives me a chance to really take that negative comment and tell newer traders out here, or just traders listening in general, why you're wrong. And I think it's a great educational experience. And the comment said this, and it wasn't like a negative, it wasn't a troll or anybody like that, just someone leaving a negative comment because he said that he liked my work in the past, so I appreciate it. But he says, Akil, the only thing, this is all caps, so you know he's angry, right? The only thing, I was going to yell the whole time, but I don't feel like doing that. The only thing that makes sense in this video is nonsense. Get it? Makes sense, nonsense, right? That's cute. What the hell are you trying to convey? Your previous videos were far better than this scrap, I think he meant crap, which did not come out with anything here. What are the 2 practices to improve your trading that are different that you have not conveyed previously? And what about which guarantee? Hope the next time you don't come out with such scrap and spoil your previous teachings. You guys can't see it right now, but I'm gonna make a noise. Right? That's the topic of the video, going over a trader's head. And of course, this is backed up. And sometimes I do put out videos and, I don't really make sense sometimes. I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't explain it the right way. But of course, there was like a million other comments saying, this is awesome, you're dead on. I appreciate it. So I know this one was in the minority. But when I see comments like this, I think of traders that are watching videos for the wrong reasons. People like this, they watch videos and they want the get rich quick answer, right? Give me the answer, the 2 reasons that's going to be quick and simple for me to do that I can make money right away. When they don't get it, they get frustrated. And I think this was a situation of that. I don't think you can argue about the 2 topics being not only practical but very helpful in your trading. But it's not. I didn't give you a game-changing strategy, a one candlestick strategy that will make you millions. So maybe they didn't find value in that. But more importantly, I think this is the point that needs to be recognized. And this is something that a lot of traders get into trouble with. And not even just trading, but in life in general, right? The path to success hasn't really changed much over the years, right? If you ask any super successful person out there what they did to become successful, you're probably going to get the same answer. And this goes for, people that did it hundreds of years ago. This goes for people that are doing it today, right? You put in the right amount of work, the right way, for the right amount of time, right? So work ethic, right? Effort, time, and direction. Effort, time, and direction, right? It's no different. I've done the analogy before about kind of a boat being in the middle of the ocean, and 2 analogies. One where you shift your route by 1% and you end up in a completely different place. Another one with kind of the difference between paddling and building an engine and whatnot. But think about this, right? You could be in the middle of the ocean, right? You can be in the middle of the ocean. If you are headed in the right direction and you paddle your boat with enough effort for the right amount of time, you're going to reach your destination. Success is no different. And I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't care where you come from. We all have situations. Sometimes the amount of effort, sometimes it takes more effort, right? If you didn't have a silver spoon, if you weren't handed a silver spoon, guess what? You probably got to put in more effort than someone else, right? So there are different obstacles for all of us. But work in the right direction, work for the right amount of time, and work with the right amount of effort, and you will become successful, right? It's no different than the key to becoming wealthy, right? Spend less than you earn, invest. Spend less than you earn, invest. When you spend less than you earn, you start to save money, you have extra money. When you have extra money, you can invest that extra money. When you can invest that extra money, your extra money starts making money for you. Now your money is making money, and now you're making money, and now you're making money each month. You're making more money, which means you can invest more money, which means your investment will make more money. And then before you know it, guess what? You don't have to work because your money is making money for itself. Now, has that changed over the years? I don't think so. So I was actually honored by the fact that this trader says, how is this message any different than what you've preached before? And it isn't, guys. And that's what's key about what we're doing. If you ever listen to Jason Greystone speak, if you ever listen to myself speak, we have been preaching the same thing for years. Hasn't changed. And that's what's so transparent and so authentic about us. It's a red flag if you see someone preaching different things. If one year someone is saying this, Then the next year they've backed down on everything they're saying and they're saying something else. That means they're chasing something. When you're actually doing something, you're not really doing anything different. You're just doing it better. You're doing it more efficient. Even when the day comes where we're not actively trading anymore, the message is going to be the same. Because underneath it, the same concepts apply. The only difference is we've made changes so we don't have to actively do it. Now, instead of actively being involved in the markets every day, maybe I've moved to a daily strategy where I'm actively involved in the markets like for 10 minutes a day. Maybe I've automated something where I'm not actively involved in the market. I'm just checking the automation, right? Checking P&L statements at the end of the day to make sure everything is working correctly. Maybe it comes to the point where I'm not actively trading at all. Everything is tied up in the investments and they're just printing money hand over fist, right? Very similar to the real estate business, right? I do nothing with that real estate business. In fact, I should do taxes soon now that I think about it, actually. But aside from that, I do nothing. I do nothing with it. I don't visit these houses. I don't check on the tenants. I don't repair anything. You know what I do? Collect a check. I don't even do that. It just comes to the bank account. It just comes to the bank account. Automatically, like clockwork every month. Unless you got a bad tenant, then sometimes not like clockwork. But you guys get the point. So I say this because many of us have the shiny thing syndrome. I just listened to an interview, accountability session with one of the traders that works on our platform, and I turned it into a podcast talking about, it should come out actually before this, talking about the 10-year, he was stuck in this 10-year cycle of suck, where he struggled for 10 years. He would learn, he would struggle, he would quit. He would learn, he would struggle, he would quit. And how he kind of had this shiny thing syndrome. And I was like that too, where you try one thing and you're like, that doesn't work. Let's try another thing. That doesn't work, right? Instead of wasting time trying all these other things, focus on the proven path to success. Now, again, obviously within that success, there's intricacies in how you can do it, but the general direction of what it takes to be successful in life, in trading, in anything is pretty straightforward. Focus on that. It doesn't change over time, and you'll be where you want to be. And if you're someone that's getting bored with the message, leave. Go someplace else. Because when I come back 50 years from now, I expect my message to be exactly the same. You know why? Because I don't ever plan on giving up my success. Either should you.